This is AfriKaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.
And it's Tuesday night, so you know what it is. This is The Open View with me, Elle Williams. And as always, I am so excited and so happy to be here with all of you. Whether you are driving home, whether you are cooking up something delicious, or maybe you're just taking a breather after a long day, you know you are in the right place. You know the show is just for you. Tonight, we have an amazing lineup. I am so excited because we have a really special guest. Our guest this evening is none other than Zane Meas. Yes, I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. He has been on our screens and stages for over 38 years. He is a veteran in the industry. You probably know him from Sevendelaan. And tonight we are talking about his latest project. It's a theater production starting at the Baxter Theatre on the 16th of April, and it's called A Doll's House 2. I am told it is unmissable, and I can't wait to discuss it with him. And we're also going to talk about his work with the Fatherhood Foundation of South Africa. And I'm very excited to talk to him about that. He has been dedicated to uplifting men and fathers and helping all of us to understand how to navigate the complexities of these roles in society and in our families. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing some of his insights and having a really cool discussion about that.
This is AfriKaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.
We are joined, as promised, by the legendary Zane Meas. Welcome, Zane. It's so lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Al. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's really great to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the discussion. And of course, you know, Zane doesn't need that much of an introduction, but as I said, many of you probably remember him as Neville Menkes.
Yes, yes, I still get that today.
Yes, in the iconic drama Sevendelaan, which
Yes.
of course, you know, was the soundtrack to all of our weekday evenings growing up, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good
You know,
to
I
have
have
you in
people I
studio.
meet today who tell me, I got through Afrikaans by watching your show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the children are now worse off for it, that they no
You know,
longer,
don't
you know,
have
that
that
it's no
program. Yeah,
longer
yeah,
a thing. Because, I mean, even my kids, you know, obviously everybody has to take Afrikaans at school.
Yeah.
And we speak Afrikaans in the home. But there's
Yes.
I think there's something missing now that there's no more, you know, of that culture of sort of
I
tuning
think so.
in to watch Sevendelaan every evening and getting the immersion in that way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But of course, we are here to talk about your upcoming production
Yes.
at the Baxter Theatre.
I'm down in Cape Town. I love
Yeah.
it, you know, because I'm from Joburg, as you know.
Yes, of course.
Lots of people think I'm from Cape Town.
I thought you were from Cape Town, I must admit.
Because I'm always playing someone from Cape Town.
Yeah.
As if all colored people come
As
from
if
Cape Town.
Well, we are kind of the source, but yeah.
You know, and then, but I'm down here doing a very interesting play
Yeah.
called A Doll's House Part 2.
Right. And I have been reading up about it. As I said in the intro, I was so interested when I heard that you were coming on the show. You
Yeah,
know, of course,
yeah.
I was very excited and like, oh my gosh. And so I went and did some research into the original of the play. I obviously haven't read the script of Part 2. That is what,
I'll-
you know, we
I'll
have
tell
to go
you-
and
I'll
watch
tell you
it.
a bit about-
But yeah, tell us, what is, for those who don't know, what's the story about?
Well, you know, Part 1, which is set both plays are set in Norway, but it could really be set anywhere.
Okay.
This wonderful lady called Nora Helmer
Yes.
decides to leave her husband and a marriage to go and find herself.
Right.
Which was unheard of in the 1870s, you know.
That's right, yeah.
It wasn't kind of, women were meant to like be, you know, at home with the kids and in the kitchen and pregnant and that kind of stuff. And she decides, no, she wants to go and discover who she is. She gets into a bit of trouble first. And when her husband doesn't defend her, she goes, well, I can't, you know,
I can't do
I can't
this.
have this marriage. I can't have this kind of life. I want to go find out who I am.
Yeah.
And at the end of Hendrik Ibsen's play,
Yeah.
she leaves.
Yes.
She leaves her children, she leaves her husband, she leaves her home,
Gosh.
and she goes off to find herself.
Yeah.
And then suddenly,
Yeah.
in 2013, a guy by the name of Lucas Hanath, or Nath, as you are, depending on how you want to say it, wrote a play called The Doll's House Part 2, A Doll's House Part 2. And he said when he wrote it, he found the title funny. And the play is not all serious. If those of you are thinking like, oh,
No,
gosh.
it's a comedy. Yeah.
Ibsen, oh my word, they're going to get all serious and so on. It's not that kind of play. There are serious moments in it, but there are also moments where you just laugh out loud.
Absolutely.
And what happens in this play, set 15 years after the first one,
Okay.
she comes back.
She comes back 15
comes
years
back.
later.
And she says to him, listen, when I left, we gave each other our rings because that's how the last scene
Yes.
of the play is.
Uh-huh.
You free now, I'm free to go do our thing.
Olden times
And she
divorce.
assumed that he had gone to the office to have their marriage annulled and divorce her, you know.
Oh.
And she comes back, she said, we're not divorced. I've been living a life like a single woman. I've had other men. I've signed contracts,
You're
which I'm not
right.
allowed to do as a married woman.
Yes.
Your husband must do it for you. She says, and I've done all of this. And he just goes, I didn't ask you to leave. You wanted to leave. So
Oh
you sorted
my
it out.
goodness.
And the play starts there. And then we get some fireworks happening.
Now we get into the nitty-gritties. Oh my
Yes,
god! Listen, I'm so
yes.
excited to see it. I'm actually so upset that it's a whole week before the the
Opening.
start of the run. Before the opening.
No, we're still
Because
getting there. You must give us some time, Al. We still
You
gotta get our
know?
lines. We gotta get our lines in and everything. Yeah.
It opens on the 16th at the Baxter.
Previews. Yeah.
So wow. Okay. So I mean, as you said, the original is written in the 1800s. I think you said the 1870s,
Yes,
right?
yes,
so
yes.
I mean, it's what 150 years later,
Mm.
and these themes and these topics, are still as pertinent and as relevant now as they were then, right?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, it's about self-awareness and self-realization and self-fulfillment. You've got to be able to, I say it like this. When you're in a plane and they give the demonstration and they say, if the mask for the air,
That's right.
should we lose air compression, these
That's
masks will fall out. Please remember to put them on yourself
Put your own
first
mask first. That's right.
before you help anyone else.
Yes.
Because if you don't help yourself, you'll also pass out and then no one gets help. So
Right.
do yourself first.
Yes.
Then help the person next to you or your child or whatever. And I believe in life it should be like that. You've got to make sure you are okay before you can help anyone else or be of use to society, as it were, almost, And I believe that's important. I really do. So this play is about that. It's about women, also a woman's issue. Women are meant to be. You must be at home,
Know their
pregnant in the
place.
kitchen. Yeah, know your place, man. Men can sign contracts. Men can apply for divorce and all of that. Not women.
Right, of course. And we see how that's worked out, right?
Yeah.
So that's essentially what it's about. It's about this woman kind of claiming the right to live her life.
And everyone, because she challenges him. She says, you don't do that either. Why don't you, It's a very funny line that she says to him in the play. She says to him, you don't act. You're constipated. It's just a beautiful line. And he talks about his inaction, his inability to do something. And she wants more than that. She wants excitement in her life. And this man he's a lawyer and he's a banker.
Yes.
So he's very sort of like,
He's
come on, man.
for cramp.
Yeah, she.
Yeah. Vijay for cramp.
What's that?
Yeah, and of course, in the play, for those who don't know, you play the role of the husband.
I play the husband.
Yeah.
I play Torvald Helmer.
So you are this man who, 15 years ago, your wife just
Left me.
sort of
Yeah.
slammed the door and walked out, and you've been living ever since without actually, you've not left her, or you've not signed any papers to leave her and so forth. And now she's come back. How did you, or what has been your approach to sort of preparing to embody the character? Talk to us about your relationship with this character.
Yeah. So the script will inform a lot of that. Sometimes the script, you read it and you go, oh gosh, this guy's going through this, or he's going through that, or he's angry. So a script does that a lot. A script will tell you a lot of information. And I love the way this guy wrote the play, because he doesn't say, angrily or whatever. But he's written it very interesting. He's written it almost clean.
Okay, so you get to
You know,
interpret.
he says the silences. He says silence,
Okay.
silence, but he
Yes.
doesn't say angry or whatever.
Right.
It's how you play it. He does give some direction in the beginning of the play. If there's a line like this, you can play it like that. But he doesn't put any emotion or anything there. There's also, so what we did was we read the first one to see what,
yes.
what
the
are they
tone-
talking, because there's a lot of
yes.
stuff they talk about in two,
Yeah.
even although you don't have to have seen one or
Yes.
even know
About
what Doll's House 1 is all about.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It'll become apparent as you're watching this one. But we just did it as an exercise to find out who were these characters, what did they do, what was their
Yeah.
relationship back then.
Yeah. How did it
And
come to this?
why would she leave?
Yes, yes,
Because
yes.
she seemed to have a very happy marriage. But we see through some stuff that she does for him that she has to hide. She has to borrow some money so that he could get better. And
That's
she
right.
did it for him, you know.
But she couldn't say so.
She couldn't say so because back then it just wasn't the done thing, you
Yes.
know. And also he wouldn't have accepted it as a man. It was
That's
like,
right.
No, I've got to look after you, kind of thing.
He must be
And,
the hero.
you
It
know.
can't be her saving the
And
day.
she says that in this play. She says, you always have to be the hero. Why? Why would you need to do that? And so it's interesting to go into those themes, which are very, you know, Elle, it's still today, in 2025, these issues for women are still there.
But you know, I think that the issues, and we're getting signals from our producer that we've been talking for a long time, so we are going to go to music very soon.
Yes.
But I think that, you know, it's very interesting to me that these issues are not just women's issues. These are human issues, because
Yes.
the thing that stands out to me about this couple and about the story, they're both very busy trying to fill these roles that society expects, and they sort of lead with that,
Yeah.
and they forget to make themselves and one another the actual foreground. And you know, they're not
Yes.
marching to the beat of their drums.
That's right.
They're marching to the beat of, you know, society's drums and what is expected of them, and that informs their decisions, and even then how they end up relating to one another. And I think that is definitely still something that we
Yes,
see
yes.
going on today.
So you're
Not-
going to enjoy this play, Al,
No,
because you seem
I
to know a lot.
listen, I can't wait. I told you I did my homework, right? So I can't wait. But anyway, we're going to go to some music. This one.
This is AfriKaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.
We are joined in studio at the moment by Zane Meas, and we're talking about his upcoming appearance in the play opening or previewing at the Baxter Theatre on the 16th of April. It's called A Doll's House 2. And before we took the music break, we were talking about his character, right? The character that you're
Yes.
playing.
Yes.
In the production, and this is a man who is a husband, he is a father. I believe the couple has 3 children.
That's correct, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh, Al's done. She could just play the role.
I wish. And his wife, in the original play, his wife just sort of has this moment where she realizes that
Yes.
although her life is picture perfect, it's a little bit like living in a doll's house, right? It doesn't
Yes.
feel real to
That's
her. It
correct.
doesn't feel authentic. And so she leaves. But, you know, in talking to you, Zane, and hearing sort of your take on the role and the play and the issues that it's bringing up, I realized that you honestly are the perfect person to play this role, right? Because...
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. But I mean it, because off stage, we know about the things that you've been doing, and in fact, the work that you've been doing for almost 20 years now off stage
Yes.
through your foundation called the Fatherhood Foundation of South Africa, right? Can you tell us a bit about that? First of all, what is the foundation, and what does it do?
So we're an NGO, and I registered it in 2009, but I've been doing work through the organization since 2005, 2006. And this year, would you believe, Al, we celebrate having reached 1 million people.
Really?
And we're going to do a big thing about it next year when we're 21, like our 21st
Wow,
anniversary.
like a coming
So
of age, eh?
I've been throughout this country a number of times,
Yeah.
speaking in all 9 provinces, at some big events, small events, stadiums, churches, community halls, community gather, wherever I've been invited to get the message across that fatherhood and manhood is so important.
It is.
Has always been, but so much more important today. And if we look at some of the social ills that we're experiencing, especially in our neighborhoods, in our communities, gangsterism, teenage pregnancy, teen suicide, all of those can be traced back to fatherless children. To fathers' homes where mums have got to play two roles, you know, and it's so much stress and pressure to put on a woman to say, you got to play two roles. She didn't make children by herself, but she's bringing up kids by herself. And I take my hat off to single mothers, you know, which is why this play also is such an interesting play, because the father stays and the mother leaves, which is normally the other way around. Men leave, you know, but I always, you know, lately I've been speaking a lot to single mothers and thanking them for the work they do in South Africa, because they're holding our country together. Man. Some of them have two jobs. Some of them work a second shift on the second job. Just to make sure there's food on the table, electricity in the box, school fees are paid. And of course, airtime, because the kids want to go on TikTok.
Data like nothing on earth.
So you got to do all of that. And so these mothers who champion a cause, you know, I was so sad the other day when we had a Father's Day event, and the child said, my male role model is my mother.
Oh no!
You know, my best role model is my father. Role model is my mother. Because that's what they have to do now.
And it's so, I think it's a little disingenuous, because, you know, it's like people who wish single mothers Happy Father's Day on Father's Day. I always kind of cringe a little bit, because no, you're not a father, no. And I don't think that we should try to pretend that you can be or that you want to be.
I love that sentiment, and it's something that I've expressed and I've been taken to task for. Really? Because I believe a mother can't teach a boy, for example, to be a man.
And vice versa.
You can teach him to have good manners. You can teach him to say yes, please, thank you, and all of that. But to teach him to be a man, you don't have it in you, Al. I
actually don't know all of what it means to be a man.
You understand what I'm saying?
I don't know how I would begin to teach
but you can find him a good role model.
Yes, of course.
And there's a thing I always say, fatherhood is not biological.
Yeah.
So it can be his uncle, it can be his grandfather, his older brother, his rugby coach, whoever. You know, those are male role models that will play father figure roles in our I had that. My dad died when I was 14.
Oh, no.
I had a great father, but he died when I was 14, just as I was becoming a man. But I had I had my brothers-in-law who were married to my older sisters that I could look up to. I had wonderful male role models throughout my life that I thank them for forging and molding me into the man that I am today, you know, and I acknowledge that. And I realize fatherhood doesn't have to be biological.
Absolutely. You know, and it's not any shade on single mothers. I'm a single mother. And you can't teach your son to be a man. You can teach your children to be good people.
That's
100%.
Important. And that's what mums are doing.
Absolutely.
You know?
But there is something that you know in your heart and in your spirit that there is a gap that you are not able to fill. And I think what I love about the work that you're doing is that it seems to me that you're very unapologetic about making it clear to men that they are needed, you know, and that you're not, because I think I hear a lot these days from men in certain circles, you know, about how now that women can do, you know, essentially whatever we want, which should always have been the case.
You've just been given the freedom now and the liberty.
That's something that people had to fight for, but nevertheless, it should have always been the case. We are all human, so, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's this notion that, you know, the things that men thought that they were supposed to do, like make money, or, you know, as a simple example, right?
Absolutely.
Because, of course, it was just the other day that a woman could open her own bank account. I mean, I know that within my mother's lifetime, oh my God, let alone vote.
Yeah.
Right? These are not, you know, sort of ancient developments. We're talking people that we know who had to get, you know, a man, whether it's her father, her husband, whoever, to co-sign on just like basic decisions and things that she wants to do in life. Yeah. Of course, that's no longer the case. thankfully. And now what we hear from men is, well, now I don't know what my role is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how I fit in because, you know, who am I supposed to be? What am I actually bringing to the table? And I think it's quite, again, I haven't seen part 2 of this play that we're discussing, but one thing that I find very interesting about part 1 is that it's clear that one of the reasons why Nora leaves is because her husband imagines that what he's supposed to bring to the family is control. And what she wants is partnership. And those are not the same thing. And so when he's asking her to stay, she says, how can I stay? What would I be staying in? Because what would I be contributing? She herself, because she doesn't even know who she is. So the partnership that she's asking for is one that even she doesn't know how to contribute to, you know, because she's been so sort of disempowered and turned into this pretty little doll, you know, as it were. So anyway, the point is, you know, what I'm getting at is that I love that through the work that you're doing, you are trying to sort of get the message across about how to navigate these kind of complexities and how to understand that your role is very important, even if it's not in the patriarchal sense. You know, it doesn't mean that you're not very much needed and that your presence doesn't make a huge difference. So I guess I wanted to ask you, in your view and in the work that you do and in what you've been getting across to the 1 million people, I mean, what an achievement, right? The 1 million people that you've reached.
Sure. We don't take that lightly. Yeah.
Right? No, because it's a big deal. What is the key message what's your key message about the most important thing that you feel a father brings to the family?
I think, in my opinion, men today underestimate their importance. They step aside and they abdicate a role that I believe is vital. You know, when I wrote a book called Daddy Come Home. I've written 3 books, but that's the one that I've managed to publish. Daddy Come Home, Father Come Home, Papi Kom Huis Toe, Baba Boeie and Ekaya. And I wrote this book, and the book speaks roughly about the men's importance. When I wrote the book, I needed to know what the definition of father was, first of all. I didn't, you know.
And what is it?
If I was going to speak about fatherhood, I thought, you better know what it is. So I went to all the dictionaries, you know, even spiritual dictionaries. And the different definitions were: man is the seed, because he carries the seed. An interesting one says the man is the cause. So if there's an effect, 10 to 1, he's the cause.
Okay.
You know, it says he's the root. The root. If there's a fruit, there's a root. Same as the cause and the effect. Then there was a one that said he's the stone pillar of the home. He's meant to be the rock of the family, the strength. Another one said he's the anchor of the home. You know, when storms of life come, fathers are meant to anchor their families. And I came up with, after all of this, I came up with my definition, which is he's the founder of a lifestyle. The lifestyle you enjoy. Think back to who set the atmosphere in the house, whose voice you will use, you know, whose arms did you cradle? I mean, some homes just have mummies now. But think back in the day to homes that had, and there are lots of homes that are double-parallel homes, of course. But think about who said, my father ruled with his voice. He would shout from the room, knock it off. We're playing in the lounge here, knock it off. The whole house goes quiet.
Yeah.
No one's near the radio. The radio also goes quiet. I don't know how that happened. But, you know, my father's presence in the house just created such sense of security, of peace. You know, I know now, like now I'm away from home, my wife will phone me at 1 and say, I'm trying to sleep, you know. She's saying, well, she can't sleep because I'm not there. The dogs are barking and she's not, you know, the bed's empty, blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. When I'm home, 9 o'clock, that woman is out.
Oh, wow.
I'm going like, babe, you used to call me at 1. She's going, no, you're home now.
Yeah, now
I can sleep
rest.
better. I know you're going to lock the doors. You're going to check the windows. You're going to make sure everything's okay. And that's the sense of security, dads. That's the founder of a lifestyle. The lifestyle we enjoy is because of the fathers that we had or didn't have. So even if you didn't have a father, he still affected your lifestyle. He still affected what you know. There are boys who don't know how to change plugs. There are boys who don't know how to shake hands, how to behave in a company, they learn the wrong things from their friends. Because my father taught me, you shake a hand, you press someone's hand, you hold it, you look him in the eye, and you don't forget his name. And you just give a slight squeeze. It's like not hard,
Yeah.
just a firm. You don't give a dead fish.
Right.
He taught us stuff like that. And I see. Let me tell you how it came about. Now, 3 of my sisters were single parents.
Wow.
Not because I saw men being difficult. I saw my sisters suffering. And I went, but I know the guys who had children, who made the children, who were in our homes, who visited, who ate at our tables. Some even slept over. And now these guys are just gone.
Wow.
And my sisters are bringing up. I ended up being a father figure to these children. Many of my nieces and nephews will tell you, no, Zane always came to the school. Zane was there for our birthdays. Zane was there. And I went, dude,
this is not right.
you don't know what damage you are causing. And that is why I'm saying they underestimate their importance.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that founder of a lifestyle there, you're putting so much pressure on single mums to do that.
Yeah. It's actually a bit of an impossible ask. Yeah.
So for me, that's the one thing I want to say to men. Do not underestimate your importance, gents. Guys, fathers. And if you made what you think is a mistake, there's no such thing as mistake babies. I don't, I'm a very spiritual person. I don't believe the God I serve makes mistakes. But I don't believe children are here by mistake. We say, oh, did you hear Jenny's pregnant? She's got a mistake baby. There's no such thing. I know parents who can't fall pregnant, who struggle to have kids, and yet Jenny's pregnant. So there's a reason for that child to be here.
I believe that.
And so even if you've made a child somewhere that you can still go build. I'm not saying go marry the mother of that child, but at least be involved in that child's life.
Yeah.
Let the child know who the father is.
Yeah.
Even if you show up once, twice, thrice, 4 times a year, of course, as many times as you can.
Yeah.
But be involved in your children's lives.
Yeah, because it's an opportunity for everybody. I mean, it's important to the kids, of course. As you say, it has a direct impact on their quality of life. But I think also, as a parent myself, it's obviously very difficult. Parenting is very difficult work, right? But there's something so magnificent about being able to mean that much to someone.
Yeah.
It's really a gift that you give yourself, when you raise your children and you understand just like how profound it is, this thing that you're doing, walking with someone on their journey, towards maturing and just like finding their way through life. And I think that when you abdicate that, you actually lose something, yourself as the parent, So yeah, I think, just kudos to you for distilling this and for doing this work at the scale that you're doing it. We are in studio. I am in studio joined by Zane Meas. And as you can hear, we're having a really, just such an important and necessary conversation about family life, about fatherhood, and just about the complexities, right, of what it takes to navigate all of this. I hope you all are enjoying it. Please remember to send us your views or any questions that you have for Zane on the WhatsApp line. And we are going to be back with him. After this one, we're going to...
This is AfriKaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.
You are tuned in to The Open View with me, Elle Williams, and I'm joined in studio by the wonderful Zane Meas, and we're having a really, really great conversation about families, about parenthood, and about his upcoming play, A Doll's House 2, which is going to be on at the Baxter Theatre from the 16th of April. We just heard a beautiful tune by India Ari called The Truth. And I think it captures a lot of what we're discussing now, just as we talk about fatherhood, really celebrating men and acknowledging the importance of the roles that they do play in our lives. And as Zane says, fatherhood is not necessarily biological. It's about presence. It's about showing up and really just about the influence that you have and the tone that you're able to set within a family, within a home, and so forth. Comments are coming in on the WhatsApp line. Our good friend Cecilia Les is tuned in, and so is Adele. Hey, Adele Smith. she's here. And Cecilia says, "Hi, Adele, missing you like crazy." She also says to Zane, "Thank you so much for celebrating single mothers, sir. I feel the same way as Elle. I got a mentor for my son because I don't know how to be a father," right? And I think this is an important thing for us to highlight, is that women, or you know what, let's not even make it about women. Because I think that when we do this, we establish these false dichotomies. And as the play shows us, you know, it's about whoever stays when the other one leaves, right? It's just that most of the time, that tends to be the woman. It tends to be the woman who stays. But it's not always that way. And the long and short is that whoever stays will do the best they can, but they cannot be all things, you know? And so I think that's the point that we're really
absolutely
trying to get across. Cecilia says, "My son-in-law steps up too, and I'm grateful for his intervention." And I love what you said, Zane. "I taught my son how to shake hands and how to make eye contact when you greet and say your name strongly and with confidence." And yeah, you know, so these are the little things, right, that maybe wouldn't even occur to you in the same way unless you know, and again, I'm sure that there are many other things that are the reverse, you know. So like my daughter and I, we sit and do makeup. Now, obviously, we don't want to essentialize, and it's not that, oh, girls sit and paint their faces or whatever the case may be.
No, but
there are things that you do that, I mean, men don't sit and do their makeup. So if it was you, Zane, with your daughter, chances are that's not a way that the two of you would be bonding, right?
Yes. No, it wouldn't. But I have sat in many tea parties with all the dolls, which is important because, you know, it's an interesting thing because little girls, from the time that they're young, they're practicing for their wedding and for their partners. You know, boys will go and drive trucks and fly planes and chase dinosaurs in their imaginations.
Right.
But I've had to sit with both my daughters where I've had to sit there on the little chair and she'd pretend to make me tea and lunch and all of that. And I've got to sit there. I've got to do it because it's important for also for girls, you know, to have a good, positive male role model. And fathers generally are the very first example of what manhood and what maleness is all about. And if he's absent, she's going to have a skewed view of that. She'll go to television, she'll go to TikTok videos and all of that and look for the type of men. And there aren't good male role models there always, you know. So I've had to learn to sit and drink that imaginary tea and have that imaginary cake because it's important for her, you know. And I've also, my daughter wants to be a paramedic, for example.
Oh, good for her.
She's not your typical thing. She says, "No, Dad, I'm going to be a paramedic. I'm going to drive a truck.
Yes.
I'm going to save people's lives." And I'm going, "Go for it, babe." She's 12 now. She's 12.
Oh.
I'm going, "You go for it, babe." I'm not saying I'm going to drive in your paramedic truck, but I'm going to be there when you have to do this, you know. So you got to support. I always tell my kids, I pray for them every night. I tell them anything that you dream and wish and work hard at, you can become.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Irrespective of whether you boy or girl.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, I actually have to say, I have to give a shout out to my late father. He passed away many years ago. But as I'm listening to you, you know, talking about the whole, you know, practicing for the tea parties and the future partners and all that, I realized that's actually not what my dad instilled in me.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to him because he was very committed to my empowerment. Now that I think about it, he was big on making sure I got a really good education. Yeah, you know, just things like that. And I don't think about that all the time, I realize, but I'm thinking about it now because we're talking about it now, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's a lot that goes on without you even consciously realizing it, you know. But it's in the way that the sort of building blocks of your life are put together through the support of your parents and through the influence, you know, of your parents. So, yeah, we really can't overstate the significance. And I think that's the main takeaway
Yeah.
from this discussion is just the importance and the significance of having a presence in your children's lives.
Absolutely.
That being said, we are talking about a play.
No, but we're also talking about fatherhood, which is just a great topic also.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
and
yes. No,
single
it is.
parenthood and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a play that sort of delves into some of the reasons why that doesn't always pan out in the way that you would think it will. And it is about this notion of, people and their self-fulfillment and I guess just reaching a point where you feel like you're facing, I don't know, I guess maybe these deep and sort of unbearable choices, trying to balance it all and juggle it all. So I want to ask you, Zane, how do you balance it all, right? Because you've got this big career in entertainment that we all know about. You've got the very significant social impact work. You've got your family.
Yeah.
How do you keep it all together?
Family is number one. If I can go and be the world's greatest actor or activist or whatever, but if I don't exemplify it at home, it's a bit pointless. So I mean, now I'm away from home for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
That's how long I'm going to be in the Cape for this play. We've been rehearsing here and we're going to be playing here. But I make sure every night I do the phone call when I'm done here with this interview.
Nice.
There'll be a video, a WhatsApp video call.
I hope they're listening.
I did send the thingy, so let's hope. And then, there's no time to be a celebrity when you have family.
Yeah.
I can't come home to my kids and go, don't bother your father now.
Right.
I just took 15 selfies with people. I signed so many autographs. 19 people recognized me on the street. Please. And they're going, Dad, we need help with the homework or the Afrikaans here,
Yes.
Or my wife's going, babe, you got to cook something. I'm going to be home late. Yeah, I
Right.
don't have time
Yeah.
to be all celebrity about it.
And you wouldn't want to.
No, let me tell you, it grounds me. I need that.
Yes.
I can't be who I am in public if I don't have that. Because sometimes when you're in public, you put on a face. You are that person. You're Zane now, the actor.
Yeah.
You're Zane, the activist in fatherhood. You're that. When I come home, I can be me.
Yes.
I can just be me. And I've got these people that are also reliant on me or who love me.
Yeah.
For whatever person I am, all my mistakes and everything. And that's what we need. I need that. I find that my family grounds me.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be who I am today.
But Zane, I'm listening to you and I realize it speaks a lot to your values. Like what you're describing speaks, it speaks about who you are, the fact that you've been able to sort of cultivate and sustain that. Where would you say, because again, it's, I don't want to say it's difficult, but yeah, in a way it kind of is. And you need to have a particular mindset and, as you say, a groundedness, to be able to sort of stay the course. Where did these values that you are living, where would you say that they came from?
Some of them I learned, some of them I saw from my parents. Like, for example, my father used to work, he was a leather worksman, to work with leather, And every Friday he'd come home with that brown envelope. They got paid in the brown envelope by our parents. That's how they got paid. And him and my mum would come and they'd sit around the table and they would divvy up the money. This is for rent. This is for clothes. It's to lay by our clothing. In January we lay buying clothing for December already.
For
By the time you
Christmas.
wear it, it's out of fashion, but it's been lay by, so you just have to wear it. It doesn't matter, I saw that example. I saw that example of a man who. We didn't understand the concept of being poor back then. We weren't rich in what I understand rich to be today. We never missed a meal. We never missed a... You know what I mean? We didn't understand... Children don't understand the concept of rich and poor, but they do understand the concept of love. Because you can become rich or you can become poor later in life.
Yes.
But to input love that parents are supposed to give you when you're young, that's what I'm doing now. I find it so much more difficult to try and change a grown man, where it's so much easier to just grow up a child in the way that they should go. So, it's so much easier to do that. You can input it when it's young. It's so much difficult to change the thing when it's old and set in its ways. So I saw that from my parents.
Yeah.
I saw that. And it's something that's why I love family. I come from a big home also.
Yes.
7 children.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I didn't
and I'm the
know.
only boy. I'm the youngest as well.
Really?
So I got 6 older sisters.
I'm also the youngest. Something so magical about being the last
Yeah.
born, hey?
Yeah. And
say what you want.
I've got 5 kids now at home, so I love big families.
Oh, wow.
I just yeah.
But, I hear what you're saying about how for you it came from your family and so forth. Not everybody has that.
Mm.
And for those who don't, how can they get in touch with your foundation and with the work that you're doing? And, for those who need some kind of support or just, talk to us about what people can do when they want to reach out for the things that maybe...
Well, we've got a website, number one.
Uh-huh.
It's www.FFSA, that's Fatherhood Foundation South Africa, .org,
Okay.
.za, not .co, .org.
.org.za. It's a non-profit.
That's quite easy as well for the email.
Okay.
Zane, Z-A-N-E,
Yes.
at ffsa.org.za.
Perfect.
You know,
so people can reach out to you.
That's the easiest, email or website. There's a on the website will be our WhatsApp line. On the website will any other information that you need. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Fatherhood Foundation South Africa. Don't now go on Fatherhood Foundation Australia. Please, it's got to say South Africa. FFSA is the short. The hashtag FFSA.
Perfect.
The SA is for South Africa. Yeah.
Perfect.
So they can reach out, and we do get back to people.
Oh, nice.
It's not like
it's not going to be AI sending you an automated
and
response.
Also 3 years later, you go like, oh hi, I saw your message in our inbox.
So for those of you who didn't catch it, the email address, if you want to get in touch with Zane and the Fatherhood Foundation of South Africa, it is ZANE, 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 at ffsa.org.za. That's FFSA for Fatherhood Foundation South Africa. .org.za. You can also visit the website www.ffsa.org.za just to see the work that they're doing. If you need to reach out, maybe need to be pointed towards some resources, or if you want to get involved, right? For people
Absolutely.
who can maybe volunteer or...
Yes, especially with these big drives we're going to be having for our million-man outreach event. So, yeah.
Beautiful,
great,
beautiful. Yeah. We are in studio with Zane Meas. It's been so wonderful having you here.
Listen, this has got to be one of the best interviews I've had. This presenter was clued up. She researched. She knew more than what I knew.
No.
That was really great. Yeah,
No,
thank you for taking making the effort, Al. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, it's the least I could do. I was so delighted when I heard that you were coming in, and it's really been a wonderful conversation.
I thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Really great.
Thanks so much. We're talking to Zane Meas because, of course, he is appearing in an upcoming production at the Baxter Theatre Centre. It is called A Doll's House 2. And it's going to be running from the 16th of April, I believe, until the 10th of May.
Around that weekend.
Something like that, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Where can people go for tickets?
They go to, I would imagine, here in Cape Town, the big thing is Quicket. Am I correct?
I think it's Web Tickets.
Web Ticket, I don't know which it is. I
think so. I know the Baxter does all their,
on Web Ticket.
They do all their ticketing
then it's
through
on
Web Tickets.
Ticket. But you can also just come to the Baxter and buy tickets
buy
there.
tickets at the box office. And I think we are going to be doing a little giveaway on the
I'm going to send some tickets through.
Yes.
And if you're not, it might be the opening night. If not, it'll be some time during the run that you will win tickets to come and see.
Absolutely.
And then afterwards, you've got to stay and take a picture with us. So
yes. So make sure that you stay tuned to the station, stay tuned to AfriKaap Radio, because you never know, which one of us is going to be handing out these free tickets to come and see.
It'll probably be Al's show. Just saying that.
We'll see. We got to keep the suspense up. Cecilia also has a show. She's got a great show, and she's a big fan. And actually, all the shows on the station are really
Adele
cool.
And Nate.
Adele and Nate, so you never know, right? It could be any one of us.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep it locked to AfriKaap Radio. Zane, it has been such a pleasure. I can't wait to have you back again.
I'm coming back.
Of course, you have to. There's so much to discuss. We got the Million Men activation coming up next year. So, definitely a lot to talk about. And we will be seeing you at the Baxter. I'm so excited for the production. So, we'll see you there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
This has been The Open View with me, Elle Williams. We do this every Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on AfriKaap Radio. And so, that is it from me. I cannot wait to see you all again next week for another wonderful show.
This is AfriKaap Radio, playing the music 24/7 on your dial.